Hi, Mitch. It's Matt Lewis. Hey, I just wanted to send you this quick video to go over a couple of different options for your new home loan refinance so that way you can gauge kind of a side-by-side comparison of what we can do regarding this property if you want to keep it short-term or if you want to keep it long-term. We'd like to present, like I said, as many different options as possible for that you can make the best decision for you. So this screen that I'm sharing is my desktop. It's just a software that I use to take together a mortgage application. The main concern is going to be where my arrow is this area and then this area. Oh, and by the way, you have phenomenal credit. You're an 808 credit score, so no worries there whatsoever, man. But so here, excuse me, based on your current loan, you owe $136,540. As I mentioned, that's not your payoff. The payoff's going to come in a little bit higher than that. But I'm going to set the loan amount for $160,000. That way, it gives just a little bit of cushion. Full $20,000 cash out. So, based on an interest rate. Now, in terms of interest rates, and I get that question a lot. Hey, what's your interest rate? What's your interest rate? It depends. And what I mean by that is not only does it depend on credit, that's the biggest determining factor, but it also depends on what you're doing with the loan and type of loan. So, for example, when you buy a house, that interest rate is going to be different than if you were to refinance and pull cash out of a house. Pulling equity out of a house is comparing apples to oranges for interest rates than if you were to buy a house. Or if you were to, let's say, refinance a house and not pull any equity out, we just call that a change in rate. We're lowering the rate. That is also a different interest rate as well. So when you're driving down the freeway and you see all these billboard advertisements for APR and all that good stuff, they're assuming that you're buying a house with 20% down, and the house is also a single-family residence. So it's not a townhouse, and it's not a condominium. Those properties are going to have, again, a different interest rate than it would be for a single-family house. So when you build your house, if you were to build your house today, your rate is going to be different than what refinancing and pulling equity out of a condominium. Now, the rate's not substantially different. It's anywhere between an eighth, sometimes 0.25% in interest rate. It's very, very little. It's not, going from like a 4% to a 6% or anything like that. It is a slight adjustment, but not a huge, huge adjustment. So I'm basing this off of 4.25 on a 30-year fixed interest rate with a loan amount of $160,000. So your principal and interest payment is going to be $787.10. Now, you do have more than likely some type of small homeowner's insurance policy for the interior building. Your HOA probably covers the exterior of the building. And I'm estimating that to be about $200 a year, so about $15 a month. And then property taxes of $126.75. That I got that number from the county recorder's office for Salt Lake County for your property. That's the $1,500 and some change divided by 12. That is your monthly payment. So your new monthly payment will be $928.85, and your current mortgage payment, and again, this does not include your HOA, is $882. So that is a difference of $882 minus $928.85 is $46.85. So it's not a huge difference. And that would get you out the full amount of money. Now, what we're going to look at now is what's called a loan estimate. And a loan estimate is exactly what the term is a loan estimate. So we're estimating what the new loan is going to be. So here is on a loan estimate. Again, it's going to reiterate your information in today's date and all the loan information, the loan amount, the interest rate, the principal and interest payment. Obviously, there's no prepayment penalty, so if you want to pay off the house early, you can. And there's no balloon payment on the loan. And a balloon payment is it's going to be fixed for a certain amount of time, and then after that period of time, the whole note or the whole mortgage is going to be due. A real common one is like a 10-year balloon payment. So the first 10 years, you'll be at like a really low rate, and then all of a sudden, you'll get a letter in the mail after the 10th year saying, "Surprise! Your whole balance is due next month." Whatever is remaining. This is not a balloon payment. And again, here reiterates the mortgage payment. We are going to escrow your taxes and insurance. It doesn't show that here, but as you can see, property taxes, homeowner insurance, don't worry about it saying no for escrow. The reason why it does that is because it's reading as an estimate, but it is going to be escrowed for that total payment. And so I'm estimating that the closing costs, are going to be about $27.83, and I'll explain that in detail as well. And even though it says $27.83, it actually is a little bit lower than that, and I'll explain. And I'm estimating you get about that $20,000 cash back. Now it says $20,677, but again, don't have the payoff yet on the house, and so these numbers will be adjusted a little bit once we get that payoff on the house. So here are the closing cost details of the loan. As you can see, my only lender fees, now box A for origination charges is just the lender fees. Everything that the lender charges is going to be in this box. Now, just because it says origination charges doesn't mean that it's, quote, an origination fee, like a 1% of the loan. It's just everything that the lender charges is boxed in here. So if a lender is going to charge you an origination point, they're going to charge 1%. It's going to say 1%, and then the dollar amount, underwriting fee, processing, application, whatever, junk fees that are added on. But we don't do that. So the only thing we charge is a flat $925 underwriting fee. We then have to have an appraisal done on the property. Appraisals range anywhere from $425 to $500. Just depends on the location and how quickly you have to have the appraisal back to us. So that does have a little bit of variance, but I'm just, for all intents and purposes, going to put $450. And then we also have to have title insurance. Now, what title insurance is look at it like medical insurance. You kind of need it when you don't, or you kind of need it when you need it, and when you don't, you're still paying for it. What that does is whenever you put a mortgage on a property, title insurance is required by a lender to secure their mortgage in first lien position. So, for example, let's say you refinance and down the road there's a lien put on your property. Could be anything, a tax lien, a mechanics lien, any type of lien. This prevents anything else from coming in to first lien position and makes the mortgage still in first lien position. That way, if you should sell the house or refinance or pay off the house early, the lender gets their money first before anybody else, obviously. So when you add in the lender fees plus the appraisal and the title insurance and the title closing fee, that comes up to $2,227. Now, over here under prepaids, this is what I spoke about a little bit earlier for prepaids and escrow payment. So right now, you are paying every month your taxes and insurance and your mortgage payment. What we're going to do is you're going to literally get a check from Wells Fargo after you refinance. It takes up to 30 days. You're going to get a check in the mail for whatever balance you currently have in your escrow account. It's probably not much. It's probably maybe $300 to $500. You can check that on your Wells Fargo statement. It will show you what your escrow balance is. And the reason why it's not a lot of money is property taxes were just paid in November here in Utah, so it's not a whole lot of money. So what prepaids and initial escrow do is you're going to get that check back in the mail, as I explained earlier. All we're doing at closing is resetting up those same monies that you have in that account in your new mortgage so that come November, you're not delinquent. You're not going to be short on that month. So in reality, it is a closing cost, but what happens is you're going to get that money back from Wells Fargo, and then we're resetting up that same money at closing. So it's really just a wash. So even though the bottom line says $27.83, you really have to subtract out the escrow because, like I said, you're getting that check back and you're setting it up at closing. So it really doesn't make a difference. So and that's how that number gets calculated. So really, total closing cost $27.83. You might as well subtract out in your mind, let's say about $300. So really, that's where that $24.83 number comes from. And we mentioned APR. So APR is any lender fees plus any title fees amortized over the new loan. So as you can look right here, the APR is 4.311, but our interest rate is 4.25. So if we take 4.311 minus 4.25, that's a difference of 0.061. As I mentioned, a really good deal is anything less than 0.125, anything less than an eighth. So you can see we're well below it. So that's a measuring tool to know that you're getting a great, great deal. Now, as I mentioned before, based on the length of time that you plan on being in the house, there are options to where those closing costs are not in the loan. And how we do it is this. So instead of getting like a 4.25%, for example, where your payment is $928 What we do is we just increase the rate by 0.25%, which would increase you to $952.45. Then what I do is on the loan estimate, when you sign at closing, there's actually going to be an adjustment made. You're actually going to get a lender credit at closing to cover those closing costs. So your closing costs, again, between everything, excuse me, is I should have that memorized, right? Is $2,784. But if I was to increase the rate to 4.5, there is going to be a lender credit to cover that $2,784. So now when we go back into the loan estimate, you're going to see over here where it shows lender credit of $2,784. So what's happening is at closing, I'm crediting you all the closing costs associated with the loan. So you're going to walk into closing with the payoff, and then you're going to walk out with that same payoff in your mortgage plus $20,000. And I'd adjust the loan amount a little bit here, so you didn't get $23,460. You're going to get exactly $20. So I would actually decrease the loan amount a little bit. And so that way it's a true no-cost loan where it matches both what your payoff and the cash is. Now, the difference in payment between doing a no-cost and a closing cost loan is this. So here we're at $952, right down here, $952.45, and before at $928.85. So it's a difference of $23.60. Now, if the closing costs are $2,784, and you divide that by the difference in payment of that of the proposed mortgage for the higher rate minus the proposed payment for the lower rate of $23.60, right? So it's 117 rounded up to 118 mortgage payments. So 118 mortgage payments, so there's 12 months out of the year. It would take you nearly 10 years to recoup that $2,784 in closing costs. So that's why I said it depends on what you're looking to do. So option A would be take the lowest rate possible if you plan on keeping the house longer than that time frame, that longer than 10 years. If your game plan is to not keep the house for 10 years, it would be my advice to take the higher rate with the lender credit to pay all your closing costs, because that way you would always be recouping those costs if it's less than 10 years. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions outside this video, man, go ahead and feel free to reach out to me. Just let me know what way you want to go. And like I said, the only thing that I need is your most recent mortgage statement for Wells Fargo. And I just need to use, just need to grab the homeowner's insurance information with Bear River, who your agent is, because we have to order a copy of your homeowner's insurance policy. And then other than that, we can get the ball rolling for you. But like I said, any questions, just let me know. Hope this video makes sense. Hope you have a great evening, man. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Mitch.